Thank you for staying with us. Welcome back to our 90-minute news program. Well, 7 Jamaicans who live overseas have come home for a few days to attend the Jamaica Diaspora Conference hosted by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. It's an opportunity to discuss several issues and to get the suggestions from these overseas Jamaicans about how to solve them. It's also an opportunity to do business. But is the Diaspora Conference, held every 2 years, achieving its objectives? Joining our discussion this evening is Professor Emeritus of Psychiatry, Freddie Hickling, and the President for the Resettlement of Returning Residents, Percival Church. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. So let's start with you, Professor. Is the Diaspora Conference doing what it's supposed to do?
I have no idea what the conference is, so I really can't. And I have no way of measuring whether it's succeeding in its objectives or not. I mean, really, you don't even hear about it in the news. It's only now and again you get a little inkling that something is going on in that area. But you know, it's just another one of these political jokes as far as I'm concerned. It's just a political trickster, you know?
Percy, what do you think?
Well, when it first started, the first 2 years, the first two conference, I thought they were going somewhere. But since then, all I've got is just a talk shop and have more politics in it than anything else. It's not really, I mean, when they are not addressing anything. And my main concern is that when the presentation is made by the hundreds that used to come here, they made presentation what they would like to see happen. Now, when they come the next time, whatever they said, drop off the radar. So they'll come back on the radar to say, well, we have done such, we have done such, we have done so. This is improvement. It's getting from bad to worse, you know. And until they decide, I think it's a good idea.
Well, let me ask you this: in terms of the conference itself, do you see? You both are saying that it's not worth anything, but do you see even a conference well run giving the ability to produce some kind of policies or measures that will benefit the diaspora and Jamaica itself? Is that a possibility?
For me, no. No. It should, that is what it started to do.
Prof, is this the correct structure to have a conference like this as?
I don't think so, you know. I really, you know, I will have to quote Dan Abbott, who I know in the United Kingdom, and whose view is very clear, that the Jamaican government just want the black people money from England.
Yes,
that's all they're interested in.
That's all they're interested in.
So whatever the institutions that they set up, the conferences and the conference, is a way of trying to extort money out of the Jamaicans who have gone abroad.
More money, you mean?
More money. Who have gone abroad,
right, and
who have labored and sweated and really had to put up with the terrible ravages of racism and that you get in the United Kingdom.
Do you really believe that this is what it's about?
I absolutely know that that's what the situation is, you know. In other words, and Dan Abbott said it very clearly. She said, we are not going, we will listen to what you all are saying, but we're not giving you our money. In other words, we're not sure where the money going to go and who is going to spend it and how it's going to work. So don't bother try that argument.
But is it only money? Don't they want skills and advice and?
Well, that's a part of it. Money brings skills, you know. But the whole point of the Diaspora Conference it's a good idea, but it needs to revamp.
But it sounds more than just the conference itself. It sounds, based on what Prof is saying, that how Jamaican governments, maybe even Jamaicans living in Jamaica themselves, how we view our brothers and sisters living abroad, particularly older ones who are making money, is that we just view them as a bag of money that we must beat every now and again to get some cash. So we trumpet remittances as such a great achievement on our side. Really, it's persons trying to help us. So how do we change that? Is it a mindset that needs to be changed?
And most people, most Jamaicans who live foreign, they know that really they're not welcome in Jamaica.
Yes.
And that when they come out here, they have the highest rates of murder in this country. There are people out here who are only interested in ripping them off, and there is no organic connection with our brothers and sisters abroad, except the family issues. And even if you look at the family issues, the families just want to know when the barrel come and what is coming down for Christmas.
And Friday evening.
And
Friday evening, Western Union.
Western Union.
Right.
But Prof, how do we move to a place where we have a proper engagement with members of the diaspora? Don't they have skills that could assist us to move
Yes, a lot of skills.
Not their money, but how do we do it? If the conference isn't the way to do it, how do we do it?
No, but if you have skills abroad, listen, I'm a medical graduate of the class of 1969, yeah? And only 15% of that class live in Jamaica. No, in the Caribbean, from UWI. And I know that there are many medical practitioners from my class only who live in North America and all over the world who want to make an effort. Some have returned, and it's like pulling teeth in order to try to get them back, to try to get them involved. And when they do try to make an effort, the amount of resistance that they meet from within the local community and the legislative community and the government community, it's just really a waste of time. And many of them just pack up and go back to their second home, wherever they came from. So this business of professional assistance is really a joke business, you know?
Will it ever work?
Of course it will work. I think it will work. But you see, the reality is that we have to really understand what the Rastaman say about what the diaspora is, you know. The Rastaman said black man have to understand, go to him own vine and fig tree, yeah? And that we have to recognize that there are Jamaicans in North America, in Europe, and that we are, let's put it this way, I use a medical term, we are the phantom limb of Africa. In other words, if you look at the population of Africa, which is about 700 million right now, and there are certainly 150 million black people in Brazil, another 50 in the United States. Let's say there are 250 million black people outside. It means that a third of black people in the world are outside, and they are the Africans who are enslaved in the New World. And in medicine you have a concept which is called the phantom limb, where if you lose a leg or you lose an arm, you can still feel it itching you and you want to scratch it and the arm is not there. Well, that's what the black people in the West are to Africa. We are Africa's phantom limb, and it's like people still want to scratch that limb, yeah, because it is itching very much until the whole body politic of black people recognize that we are one people, and that when we start dealing together, then we can talk about things like reparations and ownership and all of these issues. And people like Nkrumah and people like Dudley Thompson and Michael Manley at that time were people who were fighting for those kinds of issues.
What I hear you saying, Prof, is that these issues are a lot larger and a lot more intertwined, I won't use the word complete, than just an issue of one group of Jamaicans living overseas and a group of Jamaicans living in Jamaica having a difficult time relating. And that relationship is not going to be solved by a simple conference and photo ops and nice speeches, but some kind of deeper reckoning of our history. Is that a correct way of saying it?
It is absolutely true, and I really don't think the politicians of our time have dealt honestly with the people about their history, because the reality is that the present political structure of the two-party system, the Westminster two-party system, evolved out of the British colonial governmental system. And when I was listening to the issue about the crime and violence, The reality is that soon after emancipation in 1834, yeah, the British colonial government and the Jamaican colonial segment of that, they put in institutional structures in order to control the population. And the population was white and brown and black. So there were two distinct populations, and one had money and the other had none. And the institutions were clear. One was the police force, the militia, the other one was the judiciary, and the other one was the mental hospital and the prisons. Those were the institutions that they put in place between 1838 and 1870 in order to control the black people of this country, and they've all survived till this time. And until we find a way to transform these institutions, you know, not just add sticking plaster legislation to one or two issues, we're not going to solve these problems that we're talking about. And we have to have a discussion.
To Percy, on what do Jamaicans in the diaspora want from Jamaica? They say they don't have a voice. Isn't this the place for them to get that?
It is the place for them to get that. But they said, some of them say they don't have a voice and they want a voice. Some of them say they want to vote here, so they should give them a chance to vote here.
You support that?
No, with the sort of criminals that we have in Parliament around, with bogus voting, I would never support that.
Our system isn't worse than anywhere else.
No. Our system?
Yes.
I have voted in England.
Our system is the worst.
I have voted in the UK, and I have never seen a man take out a £5 note and give it to anybody to go and vote for me. I've never seen that. And I've seen thousands hand out with my own eyes.
Our system may not be the worst, but that is nothing to recommend it.
Well, that is true. I mean, people in the diaspora keep telling us about how great where they are is, and some of us want to go and experience
I don't hear that from the black people in the diaspora. I've lived in the diaspora, and I don't hear that, right? Because
people like Percy and so tell us all the time how horrible we are in Parliament and so on. How parliamentarians aren't any worse than anybody else.
No, I'm not talking about the parliamentarian not worse off here than anywhere else. What I'm saying is that what the people want, what they would like to see, is that you're talking about security.
So you're against giving people in the diaspora a vote?
Boy, and PJ Pattinson has cleaned up this voting system in Jamaica. And what I saw in the past 5 years, what I saw this year, the 4th of April, I give up. I didn't know we would have come back to that. I give up. I see politicians take out money before police, and I see police carrying the money bag and giving it to them to buy the vote. Police.
Freddie Klein, are you in favor of giving people in diaspora the vote?
I'm not getting into that discussion. You know?
Why not?
I think it's a waste of time discussion. I know exactly what the gentleman is saying. Political is just another area that could be exploited for political gain.
We're talking about improving the structures for the engagement with people in the diaspora.
How are you talking about improving the structures?
No, this has been suggested as a
transforming the structures. I'm not talking about improving them.
Okay, so how do we transform it?
No, that's the question. We have to have a longer discussion.
Well, see if we can condense it.
We need revolutionary activity, let's put it that way. It requires revolutionary activity at the base level, where the people demand and take over the commanding heights of the country and the power in the country, and that they change the way in which the system operates. But look at the reality of how many people in this country don't own land. You know, and every political party has promised ownership of land since the colonial government in 1838. Yes. Where people were promised land, and people still don't have land, yeah? And it would be a very easy and, I think, revolutionary act to really give people the land that they are on right now. Very easily. Very easily.
But it keeps missing all of us.
No, easily. You get all the commission land surveyors in the country, you give them a task to say, let's go and find where all the people are. Let's survey the plots of land. Let's work out with the land department. I don't know the details of those things, but it's easy to get those things done if you have the will, the political will to get them done.
Over the years, we can't count on the political will to get these things done.
That's the issue. That's the issue.
But we do have a population that lives in Jamaica of Jamaicans and a population that lives outside of Jamaica of Jamaicans. The population, the Windrush population that is getting older. And the history of that and what they went through, and Prof said it so eloquently in terms of the racism and the struggle that they fought, the younger generation is unaware of what those persons would have fought for, and in their returning to Jamaica are unaware of that and treat them as foreigners. I'm sure, Percy, you've been here a long time. I'm sure you've been described as an Englishman many times.
Many times, but so, I got myself clematized.
But again, how do those individual connections like yourself, your commitment to staying here and fighting for persons like yourselves and allowing them to integrate through you and your personal interactions with Jamaicans on the ground here, and Jamaicans on the ground through you becoming more familiar with interacting with persons who have had that experience overseas, like yourself. How do we increase that? How do we broaden that and create all of those points of connection so that the populations don't see themselves as disparate entities, but as one connected Jamaica? How does that happen?
Well, I don't have the answer, because when I tried, or the association tried to bring them in, to get them in, the next thing you know that, all right, take for instance, last night, 1 o'clock this morning, on my phone, a lady from Birmingham sent me an email. Mr. Latouche, this house is at certain place here, 1, 2, 3, please get it in all over. Please get it, sell for me right now.
She's trying to
and take what you get for it.
So it's a.
I take what. Well,
let me
take what you get for it.
Let me just
Percy, we have to go. We're completely out of time.
I know
we have to continue this discussion.
I just want to say one thing.
Only if you can say it in 5 seconds.
5 seconds. On Saturday, we're having the Windrush Day at the Turnover Hotel, and there's about 30,000 Jamaicans that should be getting compensation for what Enoch Powell did to us in England.
I'll say it in 2 seconds. We all have to join the resistance.
Thanks, Prof.
We have to join the resistance.
Thank you, Mr.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
It's time now to check out our lifestyle and entertainment feature, but that's coming right after this break.